Go live, go live, go live.
Okay.
That's good. Hello. I'm late live. And that's normal. That's normal. That's normal, right? How's everybody been? I'm looking over there because that's where the computer's at. You should look over here because this is where you're at. Yeah. Oh, I have to open up chat this time because last time I forgot. Where does it say to do that? This seems just a little bit bright. Just a little bit bright. A little too bright. Okay. Where does it say enable the chat again? Am I blocking it? Chat. Okay, now okay. Welcome to live. Oh, hi. Okay, so tonight's beverage of choice. Ooh, it's still too bright, right? Is that better? No, that's worse. Hi, hey Cal. Shout out from Bakersfield, California. What? That's what's up. Hello. Hi, Tanya. Look what I have. Are you all here to wine with me tonight? Because we're talking about sangria. This actually makes a wonderful sangria. I don't know how well you can see it. Listen, I was supposed to have a new camera set up for you guys tonight. I got the camera, but I did not realize. See, here's my new camera. Yeah, looks nice. Yeah. I didn't realize I needed like some sort of an additional attachment for it. So I have to get an adapter that will connect the camera's live feed to the computer, to the YouTube. I am not a technical guru. I am a leaf master, okay? I don't know nothing about this here, but I will learn. I'm willing to learn.
How's your light?
I don't know. Maybe I'm still too bright. I don't know. Listen.
Yeah, good, right there.
Right there. Am I better? Okay. I was a little bright. Okay, so let's see if you can see the bottle better. Ooh, yeah, I think you can. No? There. There you go. This is a fabulous company. If you have not had their wines, Lindemans is wonderful. I have the bin, is it 46?
Bin 46.
Bin 46. Mwah! It's so fabulous. So it's a sweet because my palate tends to lean to the sweet side, but that's okay. Like I said, I go dry too, but I need to have the perfect pairing for that for me. In any event, so I'm going to be talking about many things tonight in my 1 hour. As you know, I'm late, always late. Did I just do something very vintage right here? Like, this is so vintage. I like check my clock my watch that I don't have. Do any of you catch yourselves doing that? Like, I do that. So have a lovely blood glass, right? Blood red glass. That is really nice. Okay. So this particular one is, it borders, it's sweet, but it does border the dry side a little bit. This is bin 50. So if you want to know, this is bin 50. It's a Shiraz. So if you like that, it does. Lindemans bin 46 actually makes a better sangria base if you like something really, really sweet. But if you like something that where just the fruit adds the sweetness, then this Shiraz is an awesome selection. So, as I was saying, it's very nice. Lower my light on the left. Okay, lowering my light on the left. I don't think that helped. Lower the light on the right.
Yes.
Right? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. So, listen, I roll all day. I don't have time. Oh, thank you. It is a lovely glass. I have a little collection. I love to collect glass. I love to collect anything that enhances and enriches my cigar tasting experience. I collect that, okay? So from blades to guns to to glasses to plates to knives to spoons to stirring my cafe with, various coffees, various teas. My palate on coffee and tea is probably as elaborate as my leaf palette is. in any event, we're going to cover a few different things, one retail thing, and then obviously I'm going to talk about the remix sangria, which is a lovely blend, by the way. And it is open to guest members as well as visiting members and VIPs, which VIPs have access to everything. So I hope you all had a wonderful week. It has been a week. It has seemed like a day in the world of the remixologists, okay? I touched base a little bit about the plank. Here is a completed plank that belongs to someone. This is the back. I just wanted to do an in-depth, quick discussion tour, if you will, of the plank. Just to kind of, for those who are getting planks, to kind of review the purpose of the plank, the 13 teasers that are on here. What's the purpose of them? I want to talk about what the purpose of the board itself, the cedar plank, why it's mounted on a cedar plank, and what you have available to you in the cedar plank so that you can really have a genuinely great experience. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I want to talk about this blend, which is back in circuit. It was out for a year. The blend is called Struck. It was used by another company who then went in another direction, and I went in another direction. And so for the completion of last year, it was out of the loop. And then Maduro was unavailable, and now Maduro is back. So I tell you, oh my gosh, let me show you some Maduro, because I have gone through all of this Maduro in the past couple of days here. This is a bunch, yeah. So when they tie it off, they'll take a leaf and wrap it, you know, and kind of weave it between this is about how much you get in a bunch, how many leaves, full leaves that you would get in a bunch. And then as I'm using them, clip them off. And what's remaining is the bunch, the tied off bunch. Okay. So I collect those too. These make great fire starters. Just douse it with a little liquor and then light it and toss it in. You don't have to do the liquor part, but it's fun. Anyways, I'm going to show you some Maduro. I'll show you a Maduro bunch. When Maduro is in, life is good. When Maduro is out, life is strenuous. Life as a roller can be very strenuous when you're out of particular leaves. Oscuro, Maduro, any of the Ligeros. Okay, so what you see here is a bunch, right? They look like this. Yeah. So this is a bunch of Maduro, my friend. So basically I would just, as this has clipped here, right? And so then that kind of begins that process that I showed you in the other one. See how it's clipped off there? And each time I take one off, I only take them off when I'm ready to use them. So if I were doing mass production, okay, I would strip all of this. I would, yes, it does. It smells amazing. It's very rich. It's very, very rich. And the leaf, as you can see, as I'm spreading it, just look at, oh my God. Oh, that is some sexy shit. See, as I'm spreading that, see that nice stretch that it has? And I haven't hydrated, I haven't cased it. So this is just as it is, yeah? So there. So this what I would do is just, you know, gently unravel those edges a bit. And again, if I were doing mass production, mass volume, an order that was five or more of the same blend, I would strip the entire thing. So I would just take the vein there, the center vein. Usually I pull up on the top part, and I'll use these to do my coutures. So if you're familiar with Remix, I use couture blends. A couture design. It's one of the designs that I'll do on cigars. So I might have added this to the top or some others to create a spread or a big jacket, as I would say, a couture designer cape, if you will. So sometimes I will save these and keep them hydrated in another bag. And then that's how I would kind of use it as a reserve and pick at it later when it comes to design time. So then I would just take this and I pull it around my wrist like so, and that's how I devein. So if I, like I said, I would strip, you know, that's considered stripping or deveining, the center vein. This is the center vein. This would be the center vein, right? So it's just a pliable stalk, right? If the leaf was not in good condition, this would snap like a twig, but I keep my leaf in good condition. And so this is, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just go like this. And then if the string is long enough, I'll bunch it and then I'll just put it aside. For tonight's purposes, I'm just trashing it where I keep my little trash down there. So I would have stripped the entire bunch, and then I would have laid out my leaves based on the varietals that they are. I would have stacked them based on varietals and kept them under a moist rag or under continuous mist so that I could keep rolling out a large volume. That's for people who have, you know, private estate accounts, and those members have their own in-home walk-in humidors, and I would roll out their particular namesake blend. That is a blend that is named after them. And I would just continue to roll out that volume. So if it was something like that, but when people have small orders, members or guest members have small orders, typically I'm doing them one at a time. They may order a collection of 5 or a collection of 7 or 10 or a dozen, right? Each blend is being prepared. The leaf is being prepared for each one individually. So I'm only snapping what I need at the time, which is more time consuming because I can't just, you know, grab my, you know, quickly stripped and arranged leaves at my disposal. There are just too many varietals in here for me to do that. And the longer that it stays on its stem, the safer and more protected that the leaf is. It's just, it's the natural way for it. I think anytime you take something off a branch or off of its center vein, it begins to lose the sustenance of all those nutrients that it houses. Once you take that off, you know, and you throw it away, you just have this. Well, this becomes more brittle. It becomes less supported. That stem is great support. I mean, look at it. I can do all kinds of things with it. It's great support. Without it, it's not. So if this begins to dry out, which it happens very quickly, like I can just sit this here. I don't want to waste my precious Maduro. So I will not be sitting this here, but within 15 minutes, this would be crisp. I mean, crisp as in and nothing. It would just be crunch, right? Leaf fall, like crunching through the leaves and fall. That's all that would be. Here was a great example. See, I inspect all the leaf before I use it. And that's part of that stretching process and all of that. But here's a perfect example of why in mass production, you'll find things like this. See, yeah, okay. So left to us, we remove things like this, right? because we're doing leaf by leaf and we're inspecting each one, make sure there's no bugs, make sure there's no feathers and no webs, etc., etc. I'm sorry, I should be looking at what you're saying. Message is hard for review. This message is hard for review. Oh, okay, that's something that got blocked, I guess. Anyway, so each one is individually done. Each one is individually prepared. Okay, I'm starting to feel this getting a little sensitive, so I'm going to put it away. I might just give it a quick misting with my little mister. Yeah, and that little bit goes a long way to just keeping the leaf hydrated. And it's sitting next to pounds and pounds of it. So, oh gosh. All right, so that's Maduro, yeah? I'm so happy that it's back. There are some leaves that I use in a lot of the blends, and especially because I get a lot of the fuller, bolder profiles. And all of those, almost, I can't say all of them because some of them don't, but a vast majority of the leaves contain Maduro when I'm working with the fuller blends. But now I'm not going to say that that's the case at all times. For example, the Morning Maduro collection, okay, this is just a sampler of one. I think I'm going to light that up. Yes, I will. The Morning Maduro collection is it starts with Monday morning. So you get Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning. It's 5 blends. Each one is a different flavor profile. They start off, I think Monday is probably like a mild medium, and then Tuesday is a mild, Wednesday is a medium, hump day, you need a little something a little stronger to get you over the hump. Thursday is, Tuesday is also a Java, it's coffee. So, and then Thursday is kind of a, it's kind of like a build up to Friday. So it's not completely full, but it's like medium full. And then Friday is your fuller blend. So that's the Monday, that's the Morning Maduro collection. And they're just they're a little longer than this one, but anyways, I'm going to toast this up real quick. It's a lovely collection that is an array of strengths, but more importantly, all of them contain Maduro. And that is a testament to the fact that just because it's Maduro doesn't mean it's going to knock you over, okay? Some Maduros blended with certain varietals are just a lovely, laid back, relaxing experience. And others are, this is my how I explain it. So when I ask you in a consult, I'll say, how strong do you mean strong? Do you like to just feel good and keep smoking and eating and drinking? Or do you need to do this where you're holding your head? Or do you need to do this where you're leaning in the chair? Or do you need 20 minutes? You just want to set it down. I need 20 minutes to get myself together. So, and usually that's all it takes. And if you really have an issue with a strength being just too strong, get yourself a glass of milk and honey and drink that while you are trying to get your whole ass together. And within 10 minutes, you'll be just fine. It shortens the time. So a little bit of milk and honey, if you're able to take milk. If you're not able to take milk, you can... Who said ew? I don't know what the ew was too. I can't keep up. Anyways, so a little bit of milk and honey goes a long way to just helping. What happens is you're swallowing, if you are swallowing, you're nasty. I didn't properly light this because I was busy jaw jacking. But if you are swallowing, still not how I like it. as I am taking this, some people don't swallow and some people do. It's the nature of the beast, Humpty. So if you are swallowing, the nicotine is not just going through the saliva at that point and into the cheek well, and then into the bloodstream. If you don't swallow, that's what happens. It goes, the saliva mixes in there, goes into the cheek well, and the smoke is in your mouth, and it's, you know, if you got a cavity, it's channeling through there, you know, whatever. And some people will spit. I'm sure you've known some who are spitters. They'll either spit in a cup or they'll spit in the yard or over the rail or whatever. Excuse me. In any event, spitters will not have the nicotine in the stomach. It won't travel down the system and set in the stomach. If you're smoking on an empty stomach and the nicotine starts pumping through your bloodstream, you're still gonna, if it's a full body blend, mind you, you still may feel a bit woozy. So the heavier, or as I say, my XXX blends, I always suggest eat something. Have it with steak, have it with something. You don't swallow. You don't swallow, SoCal. It's okay. Everybody ain't got to swallow. The heck? So if you do, however, swallow, then that's, you know, if you've ever looked at anybody's spit cup, the saliva is tarnished. It's tarnished by the nicotine. And so it's discolored. It's a brownish or a yellowish color. And that is then going into your stomach. And if your stomach is empty, then that's all that's in there. And yes, you have those acid juices helping to try to break things down and whatnot, but you've now added nicotine to the lining of your stomach, and your stomach is like, whoa, what the hell is going on? We need food. And so you will be leaning much sooner if you are a swallower on a full or full X or full XXX blend. Where do you get all those X's from? More Ligero, more Maduro, more Oscuro, more, right? Stronger, there are others that are strong that are not Ligeros and that are not Maduros. Surprisingly, Indonesian Sumatra. You can have, the more Indonesian Sumatra you add to it, you power boosting, right? But you have to be able to deal with that flavor profile because it can have some sharp perfumey or sharp floral essence to it. Some people like that, right? And so if that's something that you don't mind and you're looking for a little extra power, a little extra boost, then Sumatra mixed with Ligeros and Maduros are going to give you some extra oomph, right? So anyways, I won't give a whole boring lecture on leaf strengths, but in any event, this is pairing wonderfully. If you are a morning or a noon whiner, some people are. Some people whine 24 hours a day. My children used to. In any event, I tell the corniest jokes in the world, so bear with me. Okay, I know what my issue is. Okay, I know. In any event, if you have a Maduro or the morning Maduro, any of the morning Maduros would pair well with a wine. So if you decide you're not going to have it with your morning coffee, because that's what they're made for, they were made to pair with morning coffee. So that whole collection is so that you can have a blend every morning with your morning coffee. But if you should decide to have your noon wine about, then you could choose your morning Maduros for a noon experience with some wine. Something not too heavy. This is not too heavy. This is very light, smooth, delicious. And you could get carried away with this particular wine, by the way. I'm still working with the Lindemans here. You could get carried away. I'm a sipper. I'm a baby. But I know some of you would have already killed this as if it were a goblet. So you'd have knocked it back. So this Shiraz is really, really nice with almost any Maduro. Really, almost any Maduro, because There's just enough dry to allow the stick to rehydrate. Sometimes you can get a blend that will dry your mouth out. You may be familiar with that experience, and you'll smoke it and you're like, boy, that's so great. And then suddenly it's like someone put an astringent in your tongue and in your cheek walls, and you feel dry. And so you need to rehydrate. So, like I said, sometimes you get something that dries you out, and then there are leaf profiles that make your saliva you feel like you're drooling, like you're just gonna any minute now. Like it just makes the salivary glands in your mouth kick in, and suddenly you feel like the spit is just so much. I'm using the slang word spit, but you know what I'm saying, saliva, right? This is why I get high quickly on the nicotine rush. That's right, especially if you're not eating, right? So important to kind of balance it out with a little something, something. Listen, I say all the time, if you get a fire cured, Kentucky fire cured, for example, or a remix cured, I have the smoking bull, like the bull bit, like there's so many different ones that have the fire cured blend mixed in there. But if you get any of those and get some cheese and have it instantly, even if the cheese isn't smoked, it makes the cheese taste smoked on the palate. So it's a wonderful pairing and experience. And then if you add that with a little bit of smoked wine, or what's even greater than that is some Johnny Walker smoked, that peat and all of that in there just really goes nice with any of the fire cured leaf or fire cured blends. So anyways, yeah, if you are having issues, have some milk and honey in a little cup ready for yourself, right? And it'll help soothe and coat. If you don't want to eat, go the milk and honey route, because that will really coat your stomach and allow you to pull through that experience, get your lean, get your woo-saw without having to feel nauseous, okay? So tip of the day, milk and honey, okay? And if you feel like milk and honey isn't substantial enough, follow it up with a piece of bread. Don't put any butter on it, nothing greasy, nothing like that, not French toast or anything like not French toast, not because that's greasy too, and not what's that other one? Garlic bread. Yeah, don't do that either.
Yeah, no problem.
So, although garlic bread does go good with some blends, it's another story. So, right, Medora is back. I'm so excited. So let me talk to you about the plank real quick, okay? And why I feel, it's a little strong on the retro, but that's okay. I like it. Why I really wanted to talk about the plank is because some people don't understand. Now I'm gonna fess up to something. I'm gonna own up to something, okay? There are mild blends, there are medium blends, and there are full blends, okay? But now I want to be very clear that there is a difference between mild, medium, and full strength and mild, medium, and full flavor. Very, very different categories, okay? Same terms, different, you're speaking about a different characteristic of the blend, all right? So when I do consults, I want to know both. Yes, there are people who like mild cigars, but they don't want them to taste like cardboard. They don't want them to taste like nothing, right? And you can get blends out there that they say mild because you can handle it, and it's a step above a Philly blunt, but you're going to pay for it, right? So there's that mild body, mild flavor profile, okay? Mild strength, mild flavor, okay? And then you can get mild strength, medium flavor, or mild strength, full flavor, okay? Very, very important to understand this distinction. Same with your medium and your full. You can get medium strength, mild flavor, medium strength, bold flavor, right? And then you can get bold strength, medium. Rarely will you find a mild with the bold strength, but bold strength, medium flavor profile, or bold strength with a bold XXXX means it's just full of flavor. I mean, it's just abundance flavor. The Tonero blend, for example, is a medium full, depending on who you are, but it's full of flavor, okay? It just goes through a lot of different changes. And that's because the varietals chosen, remember there are 7 different varietals in every remix blend. So the varietals chosen are meant to dance with each other. They're meant to bounce their flavors off one another to create this melody, this harmony of flavors. So when a person gets a plank, okay, and the plank is half mild and half medium full, or half medium full and half full, within that, okay, you have to pay attention to the fact that those are going to be what they are in strength. They are not going to be what they are in flavor profile, okay? The identification is based on strength. Now, you may get a mild blend and taste it and right away say, this ain't mild. Well, wait, it's not mild flavor profile, but it may certainly be mild in strength. Just keep going, keep going into the blend, and you will notice that it has no effect on you, or it has minimal effect on you, because that's mild. Mild can be no to minimal effect, okay? And then medium could be effect to medium full, more effect, right? And then your bold, obviously, would be a, substantial effect to, like I said, I need 20 minutes to get my whole ass together, okay? So then you have the flavor profile. So you can get a whole 6 count of mild. This one's not, this is like a medium, full, and full, okay? But we're just gonna imagine that this is all mild and this is all medium full. So you can get 6, and then there's always a bonus. The bonus is like the 7th blend of whatever I really feel like I could challenge your palate with. So the ones that are in here will be a mixture of mild to mild, that is mild body strength and mild flavor, to a mixture of mild medium flavor, mild full flavor. So there'll be a mixture in there. And the same with the mediums. You might get a medium and you think, well, this isn't a medium. When I drew this, it tastes mild. That could be. Give it a minute and you'll get your effect, right? So you can get the effect without having that punch of flavor. And then you can get it the other way around, where you have the effect with a punch of flavor or with the exact medium, or what I would consider a solid medium, which would have both medium flavor profile and medium blend strength, okay? Have I confused you, or have I made that clear? Please tell me I've made that clear. Exactly. Mild is usually flavorless. Yes, it usually is. But with a remix, I don't play that. I like to give you flavor, okay? I would feel kind of weird just giving you, in fact, I would, not kind of, I would just feel real fucked up giving you a whole bunch of sticks that taste like nothing, okay? Like, I would go to bed with a guilty conscience. Can't do that. Like, no. Now, here's what I need to confess. This is my confession, and it will be the only confession that I have, because it's the only true secret that I have, okay? And the secret is this. I do struggle with mild blends because I'm a big bitch, okay? I'm a big bitch, and I like them bold, okay? Bold. So I do. I struggle. And when I create my mild blends, to which I have nearly 100 plus of those mild blends, I worked so hard to get them. And I really had to help, like, use my focus group to support me in, is it really mild? Because, you know, to me, it tastes like air. I don't feel anything. And that is where I struggle, because my palate can't really adapt down very well. So I tend to have very flavorful but mild in effect. So it doesn't do anything to me. I categorize it as mild. If it does, you know, if it has a little bit of, how I can tell medium strength is by the retro. I can't really tell medium strength because I'm in nicotine and I am in tobacco all the time. So full strength, I can tell. That's my best hand is full strength. So if I had a handicap, my handicap would be mild. Okay, that's my truth. All right. So in the medium, even though, you know, the effect isn't very much on me, so I can test the medium strength by my retro. If the retro gives me a little bit of a light head, just a little bit, not like a full, I know. Because when I retro a full, it goes straight to the North Pole, right? So yeah, I can tell by the retro that, okay, yeah, that is gonna fall in medium. And if I feel like it just gave me a little tilt, just a little tilt, and sometimes I'll stand up, and that's how I really, really know. So my final test is I do the retro, and then immediately after I'll stand up. And if I have any effect, I know that this is going to fall either into medium full or into full. Like some leaves are elusive. Some leaves are like what I called last time, sleeper cells, or like slow gin. You know, you think that there's nothing, but then you get up and there's something. Yeah. And so you might be just fine, but start walking around the room and suddenly you're nauseous, right? And that's just the effect of the nicotine and your blood pressure rising as you're moving. Right? When you do anything that, you know, rapid movement, bending down, getting up, all of that is a quick pump from the heart to get that blood pressure rushing through your system. And then you begin to feel some effects. So, and then you add a little bit of wine, you know, or a little bit of whatever you like, can't see. So, talk so much, must stick one out. What? Can't be doing that. All right, so I wanted to touch base on the importance of the plank, okay? Some people will say, well, why don't you ash? This is a remix. It was made 24 hours ago. You don't, the ash is not going to affect your fresh blend the same way it would the way retail does. And I use that kind of liberally. Usually you need to ash it and then relight it. And usually you have to clip it and put it aside. A remix, the flavor is so strong, the power is there enough that if you picked it up the next morning, seconds are great. I always say remix seconds are wonderful. Like you can pick it up and it's as if nothing happened to it. Like you can keep smoking it. I attribute that primarily to the fact that I don't use the center, excuse me, a little bit of wine, a little Maduro. I don't use the center vein. And I de-vein all or debone all of the leaves inside. So every varietal inside is deveined or deboned. And that's why I say there are no bones in a remix. Now, there are going to be the side veins, you know, because I don't take all of the veins off. Those are your branch veins. But your center stems are not found in any of, in no remix, in any of the blends. So let me just check. I have to check every once in a while, right? Laughy, ha, ha, ha. I'm a bold girl. I know you are. I know you are. You're a big and bold girl. You work that. You do. You be knocking them things back all the way to the nub, which is the other thing. Like Tanya, if you ever go to her Instagram page, and see, she smoked the rope. She smokes remix the way remix should be smoked. You smoke the rope. They said, what do you do with the designs? How do you do that? How do you smoke it? You cremate it, right? So you smoke it all. You smoke it all. And because there are no veins and none of those extra bones in there, the bitterness doesn't build up. Let me, I can't take that one back, but I have another one. I'll show you another one. Okay. So for example, okay, this is the stem. Clearly you can see this is the thinner part, right? And then it gets thicker at the base. See how much thicker that is than up here? Yeah. So up here, right, this part of the stem, and you know, there's nicotine in here too, but don't believe the hype. You can get strength without the stem. You just blend the stick right, okay? So up here is thinner, down here is thicker. Now, I want you to imagine that this is lettuce, okay? Imagine this is lettuce. You imagining yet? Okay, great. Now, when you are chopping lettuce for salad, it is common practice and common knowledge that this is sweet, right? And as you get down here, it starts to get bitter, right? So you try to chop this part out, but the leaf might still be good, so you keep that part. But this part here, sometimes you bite into a piece of that in your romaine, in your chef salad or your romaine lettuce salad, and it's just, oh, tastes like earwax. And I won't tell you how I know that. Okay, maybe I will one day, but not today. Tastes like earwax or some bitter yuck filth in your mouth. The exact same thing happens to this leaf. So, to this stem and to the leaf. So the closer you get to the thick, the fat end of the stem, and the closer inward that you go to that, just like with lettuce, this becomes more bitter. So let's just imagine that the leaf was cut to, you know, your whole leaf was cut to be able to put into a stick, right? Now you've got multiple stems, got some thickness up here, and you get this really thickness down here. Have you ever tried to cut a retail stick and your blade gets stuck somewhere? It's stuck on a fat end. It's stuck on a big bone, right? And those bigger bones are harder to cut. But the fact that you even have a big bone in there tells you that from here, as you can see, like look at the transition of the thickness of that, right? See how it's thinner down here and it gets thicker, thicker, thicker? You don't see this when you're looking at the foot of your cigar. You see all that. See, that looks nice and thin, right? You'll hardly even notice it when you look at the foot of the cigar and you clip it and you see this and you're like, ooh, there's big something in there, but that's okay. You smoke it. But look, as you transition phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of the stick, you get around here and it starts to taste bitter, right? You're mixing the ash with the fatness of that bitter stem. So if you sit it down and come back to it, you light this bitter piece. Now that's only one. This was one leaf, right? Okay. Imagine putting 3 of these, right? Putting 3 of these inside of there. 3, that's 6. That's 6 twigs, 6 bones, right? So by the time you get to that final third, if you look around the room in a lounge, you'll find that there's a lot of stem. Now, some people adapt, right? They begin to adapt and I like that bitter part. Okay, pop, you like it. Go ahead and like it, okay? You just go ahead with your bad self. But others are just like, it turned, right? You might be familiar with that turning effect. Now, you can't go and pick that up the next day and expect that to taste the way that you first lit it. You can't. With a remix, you can. All the way to the nub. All the way to the nub. You're not going to get that bitter or harsh turn that just smacks you. And the next day, you just like, oh, it's just a turn off. Like just the smell coming near of it just stinks, right? And the ash stinks. Not with a remix. I do my utmost to test every blend and ensure that you'll be able to have a quality experience all the way to the burn of your lip if you so desire. Okay? Let me see. To the last drop. That's right. So, the plank comes with matches, which are cedar soaked. Okay, Has a little striker at the bottom, okay? A little striker so that you can strike your matches. Hello. Now, you can use butane, but toast your stick, yeah? Let that heat do the work. Let the heat all up in here. See, it's hot enough. You don't have to get it all up on the flame. You don't have to do that, right? Toast your stick so that that first draw, you get to taste the true leaf. You don't get to taste scorched leaf, which, by the way, you pull that scorched flavor up into these other leaves where quickly it stains, just like it stains saliva, it stains the other leaves, right? And that sticks to the other leaves. That's why I always tell people, don't smoke inside the lounge humidor. Because if too many people are smoking in there all the time, it be like, just watch a mirror. A mirror will tarnish, a mirror will stain because all the smoke is clinging to the surfaces. And that's how you turn a stick stale, or a whole humidor worth of sticks stale, okay? So don't do any overexposure of cigar smoke around fresh sticks or sticks that are in a humidor. If you do it, the next person does it, the next person does it, the next person, gazillions of people do it. I mean, the sticks all start to have a certain humidor taste. That's just unique to that particular humidor where people were smoking. Okay, so that's a little tip about that. So you can use your butane. The matches will give you a little bit more time and add that little bit of a cedar toast in there. And that's the other reason why these are sitting, because I send them to you fresh, and oftentimes there's alcohol infusion if that's requested. And so as they're sitting like this, the moisture in the sticks is following gravity. Gravity pulls things down. So as they're laying in this direction through the post office or wherever, they might lay this way, they might lay this way, they might lay in all different kinds of directions. And so since you don't know what direction they are, I put these magnets on the back for you to attach it to the refrigerator. And if you have infusions, infusion side up, all the infusions facing up. This way the alcohol drains down and rebalances in the stick. Also, just shipping, just the nature of shipping. You want those sticks being up and down because they're fresh and they have not gone through a full dehydration process, in which you would then add it to your own humidor and allow the sticks to reacclimate. This is if you're not going to smoke right away and you want to smoke months down the road. So then your sticks would have enough time to reacclimate to your own conditions, your own humidor's environment, and they will. Within a couple of weeks to a month or two, they will all be back to the conditions of your own environment and touching and feeling like anyone else. So, or like any other blend in your humidor. So that's what the magnets are for on the back. And then you have 2 of these kebab sticks, which you just remove, and those help you to nub. And since I have a little nubby here, you would just take your kebab stick like this and stake it. I always use my thumb as a guide because your thumb is kind of the depth of your lip, and stick it right after your thumb, right? Until you feel it on your finger on this side. Once you feel it on that side, there. Don't go all the way through, just till you feel it there. Now you have a stable nubby, right? Lovely. So I'm gonna move this out of the way because my ash is looking like, you know, it's got some body to it. And I don't want any accidents on the customer's thing. So I'm gonna smoke it for just a second. You don't have to hold your pinky out. That's just my bullshit, okay? So, this one is very nice. All right. So that is what the kebab sticks are for. in the back. I'll leave that sit there, which by the way, it sits very nicely. I'm gonna show you real quick. See, sitting there. And that's how I sit it. And the reason that I sit it that way is because of what? Gravity, right? Even after the stick is lit, and especially because the stick is lit, once you light it, steam builds up, moisture builds up, right? The moisture in the air you're drawing into the stick, right? And that's changing the humidity level inside the stick. So I put it in this direction. I set it in this direction. You can use a little plate, a little saucer. Some people have just a little asher or something, or coaster that you can set it on so that, you're not putting your stick on germs or whatever. My rolling table is clean. Okay, so I'm setting it here. So that gravity will pull back evenly, because it's all about even distribution. If you want your blend to burn evenly around, then you have to make sure that the moisture distribution in the stick, even while smoking, is managed. So being attentive to your sticks is a mature aficionado's skill set. And after doing it for a little bit of time, it just comes naturally to you. So just like you don't think about tying your shoes or wiping your ass or whatever, it just comes naturally, right? So same thing, when you practice, it becomes permanently a part of your natural process. So enough about that. Back to the plank, right? Finally, you have these slips on the back, okay? You pull these slips out like this. I won't, because I have matches here on either side that are holding them down. But once you take those matches out, you can open them and it will lay flat like this, where you can take notes, okay? There's also one at the top for the top one. Those notes bring me to the purpose of the plank, okay? The purpose of the plank isn't so that you could go into a buffet and taste a whole bunch of stuff, so I can get a lot of sticks and taste a lot of different flavors. Like, that's not the purpose of a plank. The purpose of the plank is to walk you through your palate's experience and see which of the blends pair best with you and your palate. From there, each of these blends have their own family of additional blends. So it helps me establish what category and what profile of blends works best with your palate. That's what the experience is there for. So a lot of people will do a 1 through 13. They'll say, this one's my favorite. And sometimes as they're going along, they realize, oh my God, no, this one's my favorite. I always suggest doing 2 at a time, especially if you have a flavored and a naked version of the same blend, which some people will do that. Half the blend is naked and the other half is the flavor profile of, an infusion or some sort of a tea marination of the same exact blend, which gives you a completely different blend. That's leading into something else I'm going to talk to you about. But that's the importance of doing 2 at a time is really for you to compare, do I prefer it flavored or do I prefer it naked? And then you're able to make those notes, right? So the notes are good reference, a good guide. Actually, I had I used to give the notes separate, just little note sheets. But then I had someone say before that she had lost hers. And I thought to myself, well, that's not very convenient for me to have note sheets that can be easily misplaced. And then the whole experience is kind of lost because now you can't really remember, right? So I attached them. And so it might seem like, oh, what are these wings for? These little flapping papers for? Well, they're there so that they will never be misplaced from your plank again. And then also you're able to come back and say, you know what? I love the flavor profiles of this particular blend. Excuse me, but I would prefer it a little stronger, or I would prefer that a little milder. Or is there any way that I could get this with a different wrapper? I just didn't care for the influence of the wrapper, but everything else about the blend I really liked. So it helps us make those helps me and you make those modifications so that the resend of your collection that you've selected will be in tune with your palette. So that's the purpose of the plank. Okay. So I'm sorry, what?
Feedback.
Yeah, it's for feedback. So you give yourself feedback and then you give me feedback as your master of the leaf to help you make whatever adjustments that you need so that you have a wonderful experience when you choose your next collection. So you do. Oh, thank you, Tanya. You my VIP, honey. You know I put my foots and my elbows in it for you. Right? So. I have to go back every once in a while because I talk a lot. So let me check my time. Oh my gosh, it's been almost an hour. I gotta hurry up. I might even get a chance to get to my stinking sangria. I will. I'll at least give you the rough of my sangria, the rough details. So I think that's everything about the plank. Then next I wanted to talk to you about this blend, which is, this is Carl's, by the way. This is the beveled edge. So it is something that I created to give the embouchure a sweetness because it is black honey dipped. And B, it gives you a firmness so that the end of your stick doesn't go soggy. I know some people have that experience and then it goes soft and you don't really like that. So this is a wrapper that when it's dried is very firm and it takes a lot of moisture to rehydrate it or to case it. So as a result, it will hold its rigidity throughout your cigar experience. So that's why it's always this color. If it has any additional color, then it's topped with that because this particular leaf has to remain the mold leaf. It's the same leaf that I use when molding in sculpting the designer vault blends that need more couture style blends. Make sure that stays up there. So the honey that is on there, you see a little glaze, yeah, right? It's gonna always be shiny because it dries and still has that sheen, much like a lacquer or a varnish or something like that, right? And so as a result, that adds to the rigidity, but as you're smoking it, it doesn't all come off at one time because it's dried on there. And so you get that honey, which is soaked in through the initial case. You know, when it's soft and I'm putting it on, it's moist. So that moisture mixes with the honey and it really kind of absorbs into the tobacco leaf. And then I create the beveled edge and then I add more honey. And the honey then seals the tobacco at the top that's inside. So see the loose ends in there and you notice no bones, yes? You'll see various colors because this leaf has like 4 different colors inside. But I don't know, I really can't wait to get a good camera for you guys, get this camera up and running. So the leaf that is inside has the honey and the honey then dries the opening, seals it, puts like a little seal on it. So here's where it gets nasty. You have to prime the hole, okay? You have to prime the hole. You stick your tongue inside and you move it all around. Ladies, bear with me, okay? I know. Prime the hole, but you prime holes too, okay? Prime the hole. Get all up in there, right? Get your saliva going, prime it up, and it loosens the honey. The warmth of your tongue and the saliva begins to loosen the honey. You can do the same for the outside. Just get it around your lips. and you'll taste all that. And because it has been absorbed into the caps tobacco leaf, the flavor just keeps seeping out with the warmth and the heat of the draw. It just continues to ooze into your mouth. So prime the hole, you know, get it wet, and then it will open up for you. Okay. So this blend and just about any blend that's requested can come with the beveled edge black honey dip. You can do it without the black honey, so where you don't need to prime it and whatnot, but that black honey just adds such a beautiful additive to the leaf as you're drawing. It's just really nice. So this was off the market. It can come shag or clipped, and the shag I like because it exposes the filler before the wrapper. Okay, so before you even get to the wrapper, you're able to just toast this right quick, and you can ask for a long shag. I don't recommend long shags because the pieces fall off and it's unnecessary. Okay, you can still taste it without a long shag. So a short shag or medium shag is nice. And it can come, this particular blend comes with 3 different leaves. The Connecticut shade at the first third, and the Ecuadorian shade in the second third, or the center blend, and then the final, which is my fire cured, right? So that blend is back on the market, and it is wonderful. It is a medium profile, and depending on your strength, if you are a mild medium, it will be perceived as a medium full for you. So, and you know, that's very important, like really where your palate sits. If something that is medium tastes more or experiences as more full to you, that could just be where you sit on the spectrum of medium. Okay, just like we talked about earlier, and where you sit on the spectrum of mild. Mild, it's not just like mild, medium, full. There's a spectrum. It evolves, right? Just like love and hate and everything in between, right? So you have mild, milder, 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 the other way, mild, right? And then less mild, less mild, less mild, medium, medium, less medium, less medium, less medium, less medium, full, 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 extra, extra, less full, and booyah, explosive. So it really is important to just figure out where you sit. And for some blends, you may sit a little bit more mild, and for others, you might take on a bold. If it's a nub, you might be like, you know what? I like this experience. I like the flavor, and I could probably lean a little bit, but not for no 6 inches, not for no 7, 8, 9 inches. I could probably do this for 4 inches. I could do this as a teaser. So as a quickie, which are the teasers, I could probably do that, you know. And so you might find that you can tolerate stronger blends for less time. So just consider those things as you are exploring your palate, right? And as you're discovering what's a good fit for you. What have I missed? Hee ha ha ha. Okay, haven't missed anything. Okay, just don't want to miss any questions. If you have anything that you would like me to address, please put it in the comments. As the weeks go by, I will add those. If you have anything you want to ask questions about, I'll try to answer them, you know, in the follow-up talks. Please be sure to subscribe and like. I'm supposed to say that. So twigs are also a little pack of mixed. Everybody in January is getting twigs because I was sick, and so I was really I'm still catching up. struggling to catch up. Let me just say it that way. These are little twigs. They're short and I'm not going to say that they're all sweet, but there are a variety of flavors and a naked, just to be able to kind of have something smaller than the plank, but you just want to have a quick experience. These aren't even blends that I make as full scale blends. By full scale, this would be a full scale, right? This is the scale of length, right? So you have your gauge, right, around, and then you have your scales of length, right? So I don't even make these twigs. That's why they're called twigs. They're just these little cutoffs as these. They are only as these. So it's one blend and one naked and 4 different flavors, okay, which are new blends. Every time you change the leaf to where the profile is no longer recognizable as the original profile, it is a new blend. Very, very important. And that brings me to the final thing that I'm going to talk about. So my sangria, which was sparkling sangria tea, okay, amazing stuff, is what I use. Everybody knows that my marinations, which are different than infusions, okay, remember that always. Marination, infusion. Marination, infusion. Say it with me now. Marination, infusion. I couldn't hear you, but whatever. I don't care. I just want you to remember that marination is a dry product next to dry tobacco. They get inside each other. They influence one another without saturating one another. So the leaf is not changed as is with some infusions. Some infusions actually can change the leaf. So you taste them each uniquely. On a retro, you really can taste the marination. On a draw, you really can taste the tobacco. That's marination, okay? It's like a marriage, two very distinctive dry ingredients getting in bed together, okay? Not all teas are used, but some are okay to use, and I use the ones which are okay. So these wines, which I infuse with wine, I also infuse with rums and bourbons and you name it. I only use the amaretti liqueur whenever I'm doing the almond amaretti tea. Okay, so it's actually almond tea, and then I mix that with the amaretti, and you get almond amaretti. So that's when I will mix those two together, but particularly a liqueur. And my coffee, I also use, so I use the Patron Cafe, okay? That's what I use in the Javas, okay? So that's that. I'm spilling over, guys, but just a few minutes. Okay, just a few minutes. Just want to talk about this last thing. I heard, okay, so this is a buster. I'm going to, what do they say? Is it true or not? Okay, this is a falsity that is going around, okay? So I heard someone say online that the wrapper does not give much to the flavor profile of a blend. This is not only false, it is very true, but it is also true if the wrapper is not applied correctly, okay? If the wrapper is slimlined, cut this small, and wrapped very tightly and stretched around the whole body of a stick, I would agree that it would contribute less to the overall profile of the blend. However, if the wrapper is, and in those cases, by the way, the wrapper usually unravels, cracks, or whatever. But if the wrapper is wrapped, you get, for me, I use the entire leaf, both sides. So I wrap up with the one half, and then I wrap up with the other half. So both halves of the wrapper are used on every remix, okay? No remix. Now, it might have two different wrappers, and in that case, I would use half of one and half of another, but always a whole wrapper is used on the remix blends. They will always contribute flavor to the blend. The test is always in the shag. You can always prove me wrong or prove me right. Just smoke a shag, okay? Smoke a shag of any cigar, and you will tell what influence the wrapper has contributed. There would be no point in having a shag blend if there was no influence of the wrapper, okay? It's not just decorative. It's not ornamental. It serves a purpose for you to taste the filler without the wrapper, okay? So there's that. The other part about that is you can get a blend in various sizes. You can go into a retail. This is where I was going to talk about retail, right? Go into a retail, and maybe you want a Toro, a Robusto. Like you can get them in different sizes, right? You might want the largest gauge that they have in that blend, okay? Maybe it's a 60 RG, or maybe they have it in an 80 RG. Same blend, right? So what I had heard was that the smaller the stick, the more, that is, the smaller the ring gauge, okay, the thinner the ring gauge, the more influence the wrapper has. The larger the ring gauge, the less influence the wrapper has. Now, in the retail world, perhaps that is how, in mass production, that may be true. In the remix world, that is not true. If you get a blend in this size and you get a blend in this size, let me just use this for example. If you get a blend in this size and you get a blend in this size, okay, they should taste the same. So if you say that the wrapper here is contributing more to the profile than the wrapper here, then you do not have the same cigar anymore, because they should taste the same, right? They should be the same blend. If any leaf stops contributing to the flavor profile, it's not the same blend. Even if it's on there, it's not the same blend, because you can taste them. They should remind you the same blend. You understand? So we as rollers, our responsibility and our obligation is to make sure that the consistency of that flavor profile is carried through, and we are to make the adjustment. We are the ones that adapt to the size. So if someone says, oh, can you make that in 100 RG? Yes, I can. Why? Because I know how to adapt the formula. I know how much extra wrapper I'm going to need to maintain the contribution that the wrapper has in a smaller gauge and or whatever the vitola is, okay? So that was what I wanted to say. I want to debunk the theory that a smaller blend yields more flavor influence from the wrapper than does a larger gauge. If done correctly, the roller should be able to make the adjustments and adapt to the size. So that's all I want to say about that. All right, back to work for me, and to you, salud, and long leaf life to you all. Till next week, remember, like, share, comment below, all that good stuff that I'm supposed to say. And make sure that if you have any questions, that you leave them to me, text me. If you're VIP, you have my number, and leave me a message or DM me, see me on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, but I'm rarely ever on Facebook. I mean, I check in a few times a year, literally. So anyways, love to you all. Long leaf life to you. Till next week. Roll call.